all, honestly, but Surrender is just squeaking out ahead, and now he does have a very unfavorable matchup to overcome, but it's certainly possible. You can put together huge amounts of damage if you get extremely greedy. He's kind of failed the first check here, which he doesn't have the coin. The coin can be converted into an enormous amount of damage in the late game with Prophet Velen. If you get an extra copy of Mind Blast of Shadow Visions, that coin then becomes insane in combination with Radiant Elemental as well. So ShtanUdachi will probably be happy to be seeing that coin, but it really is a race to around 20 armor or so for the Druid. That's the magic number that they're really looking to hit.
Yeah, it's definitely a funny dance, this matchup, right? Because you just mentioned, Druid has gone the way of, instead of trying to cycle through Jades as quickly as possible, in this expansion, it's kind of like, hey, we can gain a lot of health, actually. We are better than, like, Warrior at this now.
Yeah.
And you want to gain that much health, but in doing so, gaining that much health is normally a very passive playstyle, right? Being passive means you give the priest time to draw.
Yes.
So it's kind of a weird, yes, I'm being slow.
Yes.
But if the priest is slow as well, this could still go wrong for me. So it's very, very difficult. And I think this matchup's kind of bounced on Razor's edge almost all game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And there was a show match played out recently. You know, shout out to Fino, who's putting together these high-level show matches, basically testing matchups at a as close to perfect as we can achieve level between two high-level players, trying to get an answer as to what is actually favored outside of other data sources. Actually, the Priest was victorious because, yes, it drew very well, but it also managed to play this very greedy playstyle where it was assembling 45 plus damage at a time with these insane Bell and Radiant Elemental combos.
Yeah, and this is what you don't want to see if you're Shtan. The Jade comes out because, you know, he wants to just get the Jade ramp going. And yeah, Cleric, Power Shield, thank you for the card draw, Mr. ShtanUdachi. I will take that for the next few turns.
And this hand is looking pretty lit right now. There is a Kazakus in there that can be dropped as a 3-3 this turn, and then that means he can pick up a 5-mana potion for some tempo if he really wants to, summon a 5-5, do something. Woo! The toolkit is complete, ladies and gentlemen. Surrender has everything he needs at this point. As the Lyra to go off with, which is actually a huge asset in the matchup. This is one of the matchups where Lyra shines, because you are legitimately adding cards to your deck. You are adding pings to your deck, sources of 2 damage with Shadow Reaper Anduin. You're increasing the number you have available. That's key. When you're not trying to do 30 damage, you're trying to do upwards of 60 sometimes over the course of the game.
I feel Surrender's hit that moment where he's just pieced together the Millennium Puzzle now, and he just needs to actually finish out the game. ShtanUdachi still, game's not over yet. He's already on 7 armor, and he can push for more. But the way this hand is shaped up for Surrender, this is what you want to see if you were the priest in this match. Quickly. This potion now. Deal 5, go. Gonna burn through that armor.
Push his face through the farm draw. Some number 2 will pick up his Ironwood Golem now. Just value trades through the Kazakus. Ton of armor already, 12 already. Druid, like, it seems like every expansion, Druid just gets a new ridiculous trick to play on you. Now it's the, hey, you remember that Justicar card? Yeah, well, hold my beer. Just watch this real quick.
Do you like it though? I do like change of playstyles for classes.
For sure, yeah.
It's definitely interesting. Hunter's just got to catch up at some point. Was Deal 5 giving his +4? This Cleric isn't going anywhere soon. When a Cleric can almost free trade with and then heal to draw more cards for the Priest, Surrender's already in a great spot. This is only going to get better for him. And so much so that Shtan's saying, yes, I will use my 6 damage Jasper Spellstone to clear off this Cleric. Is that kind of level of Cleric.
He gained enough armor by turn 5 while developing his board with a Fandral and an Ironwood Golem to activate a full Jasper Spellstone for 6.
Oaken Summon's pretty good card.
It's real solid.
Pretty sure at some point soon as well, we're just going to see like good minion Druid, right? Because if you could just pull like 4 drops out, for example.
Yeah.
Like, also, Druid of the Claw is still a card. It's still a reasonable card. And they have so much of this other sort of recruit going on as well. So I think there's just a chance, maybe Astral Tiger as well. Just solid card Druid. But for now, it's all about the armor. And at least for now, it's all about the Jades. wonder how freely Surrender thinks he can just use this Dragonfire potion. Like how comfortable he thinks he may be with this hand.
I think the only thing really stopping him from using it here is that he has a 5/5 right now, and that can test the 3/6s just fine. I mean, with the way this game is going, I don't think he wants to hold Dragonfire to clear a big wave of Jades. I just don't.
That's exactly what I mean.
Right? Yeah, I don't think that's a factor. He will use it when the time comes that he can just get any real reasonable value out of it. But also for now, although it's an expensive card, it is still 2 more damage for Shadow Reaper Anduin at this point, and every single card you can save until after that point is relevant.
It's even going to be a pass. There's Novice Engineer going to come out from there either. She doesn't want any pesky little plague to come out. That's the Ultimate Infestation. 5/5 on the board, of course. 5 more minions. Cards, sorry, and then Arcane Tyrant going to come down for even more pressure. So, guess what? Dragonfire, pretty good card.
As well.
Or we can just Anduin. I mean, that takes.
Yeah, I mean, you're Anduin. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're Anduin 100% of the time. That's why you saw him pass last turn. That's the point I wanted to lead into, where it becomes a pretty simple calculation in this matchup, where if you have Shadow Reaper Anduin in hand already, you look at your hand and you say, okay, if I play any one of these cards, do I net more than 2 damage out of it? If the answer is no, you just hold on to it and you play it after Shadow Reaper Anduin, because the balancing act, the trapeze wire is so fine in this matchup that you playing one card before you play Shadow Reaper Anduin and missing 2 damage for it could very well be the difference between a win and a loss.
Yeah, now the second ShtanUdachi sees the Anduin come down. He knows he is on a clock. He either has to gain a ton of armor or has to beat his opponent up very quickly. He does not have Malfurion, Pestilent equipped, so his armor gain from Hero Power is just severely limited. He's just going to go for the Jade route. Is it enough?
You like my invention?
Ping, Novice, Ping again, Silence and Dragonfire both available this turn if needed to completely sweep this board. Silence on Aya is a very tantalizing prospect in the matchup because it reduces the J pressure by so much.
Yeah, and then after the clear this turn, if Surrender goes for it, you have to wonder, Surrender's probably thinking, how much refill now does Shtan have, right?
Yeah.
Just seen Tyrant, Aya into some more Jades. There's only so many cards in his hand. Probably like, well, if I play it this turn, maybe I can just get Lyra next turn off.
Yeah.
Pretty safely, right? And just be like, well, what can he possibly do?
That is pretty much the game plan for Surrender at this point. It's clear turn, into Lyra turn, into Velen turn, into You Are Dead. Yeah. That is hopefully the plan from this point. It's relatively unlikely to go that smoothly, but that's Surrender's perfect world. That's what he's playing towards at the moment.
Ultimate Infestation number 2, more armor for Shtan, a little bit safe there, and then all the card draw he could want for this game now. Plenty of Jades with the Jade Behemoth, the Jade Idol, and the Jade Blossom. Jades are already pretty meaty as they are, but is it going to be enough Jades? The next one's going to be a 5/5. He can generate potentially 3 next turn.
The stance has been resumed. Blocking his own face, blocking the peripheral vision, whatever it is. He has run into a roadblock with the game plan because the Lyra turn is non-existent right now. There's no real targets for any of the spells in his hand, bar that Spirit Lash, nothing to Potion of Madness, nothing to Shadow Word Pain. He needs a death this turn to take care of the 5/5, so it just feels like a minion turn.
I was going to say, I don't even think you can... The problem is you can't even consider, say, Hero Power Velen, Tar Creeper, Hero Power, because the Velen...
Not all who want are
Whoa.
lost.
Wait. Okay, maybe you can. I finished my point, but I thought, with Shtan cycling through so much of his deck, a swipe and a Wrath isn't really a crazy thought, right?
So
Double Ultimate Infestation.
I'll try and present where I think Surrender's head is at. Like, classically, the way this matchup is played right now, Spellstone is the #1 way you end up clearing Shadow Reaper, clearing Prophet Velen. He knows the way this game has played out, that the hand was empty and then Ultimate Infestation started to be cast. So the Spellstone would have to have been drawn off the first Ultimate Infestation and then have been buffed by the second one as well to get into a position where it could clear out the Prophet Velen. And he thinks his turn timer is slipping away to the point now where he has to take that risk. He thinks the Spellstone isn't there. If Swipe Wrath is there, that's a 2-card combo. Sure, you have that. I'm going to concede to him.
Okay, interesting.
I'm not necessarily saying I disagree with that play. I agree with that play. I think he still had a turn or two to wait it out at that point.
I think as well, because it's not just exactly that 2-card combo. Branching Paths then gives you 2 more draws. And getting that 2-card combo as well, so that's something else that could get there. And with so few cards, that seemed a little bit risky to me, and it definitely was a risk. Surrender did get his Velen removed, but now Lyra has come out to play. No Radiant Elemental though, so nothing too wild is going to happen. But still, just like you said, this is just literally more cards and converting kind of more free cards into damage. And cards as well so far. This is looking pretty good for Surrender in terms of these Velen draws. Let's see if we can keep it up. Yep, keep it up.
There is the alternate consideration here that I believe ShtanUdachi has committed both of his Jade Idols for Minion at this point. Are there Jade Idols in his deck remaining? Did he shuffle?
I don't believe so. Nope. We're gonna see a fatigue matchup.
I mean, that's viable, right? Maybe that's where his head's at.
Wait.
Jade Idol.
Okay, I was lied to. Next one's a 7/7. Jade's awfully large at this point, but I think Shtan is just weighing up whether the spreading plague is enough to hold off, but this Lyra is the fear factor.
Yeah, the Lyra's a big deal now, and again, that could be another justification for Surrender's play, which is, hey, if you use either a big Spellstone clear or a Swipe Wrath clear on my Prophet Velen, then you then have to have the other one to take care of my Lyra, or that just keeps going nuts. Well, ShtanUdachi has them both covered at this point.
That's it. All those ideas and plans are great, but when you see double Ultimate Infestation from your opponent, well, yeah, they probably got it. They drew most of their deck. It's kind of a long stretch. Shadow Essence. Okay. Kind of like Velen.
Apart from the complete lack of effect on the thing you really care about, which is your hero power.
But it's legendary.
Yes. Surrender deep in the tank right now, just trying to divine his win condition. It doesn't matter how unfavorable your position is, when you are 2-1 up with a shot to go through to the top 4 of the World Championships, you are going to hunt for those lines that get you out of it. And right now it's just minion presence. Beat him up. Beat him up, support it with hero powers as much as you can.
It's like how much people may say, oh, well, Surrender can afford to lose a game. You don't want to lose a game. You want to win right now and just move on. Shtan being so deep in the deck now. Here is the Malfurion, the Pestilent at last. Definitely a card against creatures you want way earlier than this.
Absolutely.
Just so you can really stack the armor. We were talking about 20 armor as a real strong point in this matchup. Only on 16, and this is, with most of his deck already done at this point.
I think we actually, in one of Frozen's matchups where he was playing Druid, saw him innovate a Malfuri on turn 6. He's playing the Innovate because he's playing the Violet Teacher package, and then he just innovated out the Malfuri and just get it rolling early.
Those hero powers are nuts.
They are.
Hero power 3 armor? Crazy.
Darkness speaks to me.
Surrender still has a reasonable sum of damage in his deck. Holy Smite, Mind Blast as a core damage. There's also Shadow Visions, which could get another Mind Blast, depending on the ordering of the draws. As well as a few other cards that, okay, Loot Hoarder, Blood Mage Thanos, Certainty, and they're still all cheap cards you can get more hero powers. But really, he needs the punches, so he needs those Mind Blasts.
Yeah, and he's out Velen to double that Mind Blast up. He's out of Kazakus as well. He doesn't even have the Resurrect Velen out for later in the game.
I don't even think there's anything. This is where
Shadowy thoughts.
is where I should voice my thinking process, because it is really weird.
Marching upwards to 7-7 now for ShtanUdachi. Still does have the protection of that Jade Idol to fall back on. Shadow of Death came way too late. There was that turn where there was a 5-5 on the board where I think he would have gone off on his Lyra turn if he had that Shadow of Death available to drop Lyra, Shadow of Death to 5-5. That instead, I believe, was the turn where Leland got committed and this whole game deviated from kind of the conventional plan.
I will say the board is still quite strong for Surrender. And yes, we see 2 spreading plagues, but also to a certain extent, so what? Surrender can get through 2 spreading plagues very easily with this board.
Right.
It's very much about Shtan's follow-up and how many of these big plays now he can get out and how quickly.
I'm almost out of cards.
Because Shtan has to spend some time shuffling at this point. Branching Path's very good for shuffling Jade, drawing them, shuffling them again. And Surrender, like I said, still has damage. And if this board connects, it's like, what, 11? 11 without air powers. That's nearly half of Shtan's health. Definitely not quite over yet. And Shtan does go for the spreading plague just to buy some time. And this is going to be the shuffle. Next turn, he has options.
Yeah, no choice. I mean, it's not even necessarily about needing a bunch of Jades to pressure out and win the game. He just can't hit
Not
fatigue
dying.
at this point. Yeah, if he hits fatigue, then that's game over.
Shadow Visions before the Mind Blast. It's pretty huge. There is Smite, Mind Blast, Circle of Healing,
Scream.
So there's a chance to whiff a little bit. Because if you don't get Mind Blast, you'll get Smite. So
yeah.
It's less damage, but it's damage.
Shadow Visions is finding you damage, guaranteed.
With that balance. Oh. Extra spell damage really counts here as well. Even this just +1. One more damage every time you go for these aggressive spells. Very true. It's going to make all that. When your opponent's armoring up to 3 every turn, an extra 1 on multiple spells is actually. No Shadow Vision?
Well, if he waits it out, he has a 3 out of 4 chance, or he's 3 times as likely to draw one of the cards that isn't Mind Blast, and then he is guaranteed to get 2 copies of Mind Blast in his deck.
I just don't know if time is something Surrender has.
He can
my worry.
he can outpace the hero power for a lot of turns from this point. Until he runs out of cards, he does outpace the hero power.
It's going to be a double card draw for him right now as Thanos is going to take a hit.
And here comes the pressure.
Fucking glimmer is there that makes this funny. Maybe Spreading Plague.
Sure.
That can really mess up Jade. There's no good way for Druid to deal with it. Let's have a look what he gets.
Remember when I said until he runs out of cards, he can keep outpacing the hero power? That's not quite true if you're just drawing 1 Jade Idol every turn for the rest of the game. But it's something.
Shuffle Shadow Visions, Jade Idol, go. Who's the Jade Druid now? Hits the Mind Blast, that's pretty good.
Shadows
So much extra damage. I was talking about the benefits of having +1 spell damage. Well, having just 5 damage is actually huge when it's completely extra from your actual 30 card deck. Can Surrender finish this out, put himself into a top 4 spot for the World Championship? Stan going to fight back and even this one up. This one's going to be ending pretty soon at this point, I think.
Turns are starting to become a little bit awkward for Shtan. He wants to Spreading Plague to continue to lock out the board state, but he also wants to drop this Branching Paths to gain the armor at some point as well. Also like to keep the flexibility open of using Branching Paths for card draw to generate a bunch of Jade pressure instead, but at the same time, he also wants to hero power every turn to keep getting out of range. I'm sorry, you don't have 20 mana every turn. You can't do all of that stuff.
Accept your apology. Go for the Spreading Plague and just gaining 8 turns more armor, thinking, well, without this Felon, Surrender's only got X damage left in the deck. Oh, Psychic Scream. Kind of forgot about that a little bit, to be honest, even though we were literally just talking about it. I was thinking more about, well, it's not damage, but it is damage. It translates to your opponent not killing you, which means you can press hero power more times.
It's damage over time, and speaking of time, we've just had it confirmed. This one game is now longer than ShtanUdachi's entire series against Purple.
It's not a surprise, is it?
I mean, and that's a testimony to how long and drawn out this matchup is, but it's also a difference in play from ShtanUdachi. He's playing so much slower, so much more considered than we've seen him do in the past.
Bear in mind, this is 2-1, this is game 4, this isn't even game 5. Like, we could hit that, so people have to be playing slowly as well.
Surrender just scratching, clawing, trying to drag himself over this finishing line.
Blood Mage Thalnos, the original, is still in the deck as well, and I mentioned it earlier, but he has 3 damage spells.
Yep.
That's 3 more damage with Thalnos on the board, so you will take that to negate 1 hero power that ShtanUdachi has pressed this game.
Surrender back in the tank.
Surrender's ever considered like wearing a hat, possibly. He's creating a peak with his hands. Maybe to block out Stan's read. He did mention that earlier in the interview. Surrender, I think quite rightly, just dropping Acolyte as well. There's no point messing around with the cards here.
It's starting to look grim for Surrender.
Oh, I was gonna say,
It's starting to look grim for Surrender. He only has, 16 damage just in cards recycling his ping left in his entire deck, plus 10 from the Mind Blast, plus 2 from the Holy Smite. Like, he's just very, very quickly running out of total damage, so that's why you're seeing this response now from Surrender, trying to plow through as many of those cards as possible in one turn to mitigate the armor gain coming out from ShtanUdachi.
Circle as well. I don't have time to deal with whatever card this is drawn from Acolyte. They might actually wait. Also, this gives the benefit of, you know, he doesn't go for circle now. It isn't really that much damage he even removes at this point, like 4. How much difference is that going to make when the Jades are absolutely insanely large? Right. Surrender. Head in hands, feeling all the pressure in the world right now. Shtan's been very, very chill throughout this matchup, I think, in terms of facial expressions at least.
Surrender has 13 damage.
I was gonna say, Shtan's probably just calculating exactly what he can get away with and how many turns he has to give Surrender before he can actually kill him.
I think Surrender wins next turn. Shtan, because either he has 2 cards remaining, he draws them both. He pings, that's 2. He plays Circle, that's 4. He plays Mind Blast, that's 9 and then 11, and then he plays his remaining Blood Mage, and that's 13.
Count Thalnos to the +1.
I didn't even know that's 14.
Yeah.
I mean, the 13 was enough, that's why I stopped.
Wait a minute. I think you lied to me when you said he's looking grim for Surrender.
But I finished that point with him recognizing that situation and going all in on the
Cycled
R2
through
turn
his deck.
lethal.
He's done the maths. He's got the lethal. Surrender. On point calculations. On point play. And we're going to be seeing him in the semi-finals of the Hearthstone World Championship. What a series. And again, Surrender. Just making the plays that we don't see, and we can see everything. He's amazing.